If 2020 taught us nothing, it taught us how to pivot. Now, some of us are still working on our pivot game, but our next guest, she's the teacher. She's been pivoting in life long before a pandemic even existed. So, after this quick little break, join us back as we learn and understand how to pivot in all parts of our life on Am I Crazy? Come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Am I Crazy with me, LaShasta, your mental health expert. Our guest today, I affectionately call her old school, but Marvis Henderson, there's too many innovative things about her to really embody old school. But she's going to bring knowledge on how she's pivoted throughout her life right after a quick break. Stay tuned. We offer face-to-face and virtual counseling throughout the state of Texas. www.ichoosemecounseling.com. Thank you so much, Marvin, for being here today. You are on our virtual couch. You are our first guest to be on our virtual couch, and we appreciate you taking out time. Marvis, and whom I affectionately call old school, we met I guess a few years ago. It's been about 2-3 years now. But sometimes when you meet someone, you just instantly click. It does not have age or gender or race barriers. It's just the energy. And when I tell y'all, Marvis brings the energy. She brings the energy, and it's something that you cannot avoid, you cannot deny. Either you're gonna love it and allow it to just create a fire in you, or you just not well enough, great enough, strong enough to handle the energy that she brings. It's either one or the other. There's no middle. And I am so grateful that when your energy tapped mine, that I was able to embody it and just to the top. So thank you so much for being here. So tell us a little bit about Marvis.
Oh, Marvis has been around over half a century, so she has lots and lots of stories and lots of experiences. And I'm just so thankful that I am having the privilege to talk to young blood. Young blood gives me that energy. She helps me with those techno things that I just have no clue about. So the energy between the two of us has just been wonderful. And I'm at an age where I've already been, and you are there, and I'm still a work in progress. So I don't want to say that I have all the wisdom, but I have enough that I think can get people through the life challenges that you're going to go through, especially at the ages of 40, 50, 60 years old. We still trying to get it together. We still trying to make it do what it do.
Look, make it do what it do. And yes, you do have more than enough knowledge and wisdom to share with me, to share with others. I know that when we met, I was in a space doing things in life that I had never done before. Like literally, I decided to pay money to be on a trip with a group of women I've never met. And it was a business retreat of sorts. I still don't even know what to call it because it was such an amazing experience because business retreat sounds so business, and there was so many personal components that was there. But I was taking a risk that I had never taken before. And truth be told, to this day, if I were to share with some people that are in my former circle or in my family what I paid to go do what was done, they'll be like, where they do that at, right? And I know that you were on that adventure too. And one thing that we both walked away from that experience is having clarity on our next move, personally and business wise. Can you talk a little bit about? I want you to start like on that business side, because what you do, a part of what you do, is so very creative that I want to make sure that we give it to the people where they understand. So can you tell us about what you do, sometimes 5 days a week, and then back it up and tell us the backstory of how you got to. So I want you to give them the meat first, and then we'll roll through the potatoes and the green beans after that.
Well, when I first started talking about becoming an entrepreneur, I was doing it because I wanted to be an author. That was one of my dreams deferred. And I really, so I was setting myself up for, to become an author. And sometimes, God gives you another avenue and he says, okay, you can do that, but I got something else I want you to do. And so the core of my business is actually urban line dancing, that I teach health and wellness to my growing community through line dancing. And I sat back and I try to reflect why, or what happened to create this point. And it wasn't so much about line dancing as it is teaching. That the joy that I have when I'm dancing is more so when I have people that comes in and they are one, they're doing something that's fun. Two, they don't realize that they're exercising because they're having so much fun. And three, I think it is the people that gravitates toward me, they want a better quality of life. So it's not just about line dancing. We are a social group. We do activities outside of line dancing because a lot of times, while you were struggling trying to learn the steps, or you hear me calling out the steps, we don't have the chance to communicate and have that socialization that they also need too. And while I'm doing that, then I can impart some more knowledge about, changing your diet, creating a lifestyle, healthier lifestyle. So all in, it has just evolved into something that I had no intentions of doing, but it's just been working out, and it's wonderful.
Right, line dancing. Like, do you guys line dancing? So when old school want to say I'm teaching and I help her with technological stuff, all the dances, all the line dances that the music come and you look around like, that one, that one. What's the steps? Marvis got us locked, tight, solid with all the steps. So I don't know that I've seen you do a line dance that I did, that you didn't know all the steps to, and then you've done some that I had never seen and created some of your own as well. And that's just, within itself is amazing, and a space that we don't think about using to cultivate our mental health. It's something that's, in the Black culture. And there's a few movies that, at the end of the movie or somewhere in the movie, we, doing Harlem Shuffle, the electric slide. So it's part of our culture, but I don't think that we take time to put enough value on dancing and the music and the joy and what happens in our psyche, in how it supports our mental health, that we don't give it enough credit. And so you said it wasn't your intent to start doing it and for it to be what it is. So how did you start dancing? What was the reason you started dancing?
Well, my son was on his way to college, and as a parent, single parent with chronic illnesses, one of the things I did not want him to do was to be worried about mama while he was in college. I wanted him to go do those college things. And in order to do that, I had to make a lifestyle change. And that included changing my diet. And I became gluten and yeast free. And but it wasn't enough. And what I found out as I reflect, I made I made moves. So my first move was changing my diet. And the second move was I moved out of my hometown to a whole nother city.
Mm.
And my third move was one of the things I said when I got to the new city was I am going to participate in some activities that I have not done before because that's what I needed to keep moving and to find out who was Marvis. You get to a point in your life, in my 40s, I spent so much time um, just trying to be, just trying to survive. I had just gone through, I had lost my health, I had lost my career, I lost family members, and then my marriage, that was gone. And so I spent my 40s trying to just survive, and it was one of those times when, now people will say, you did this? Yeah, I had to. There were some days I just said, Lord, I can't, I have to take it minute by minute because I can't deal with the next day. I can't take it hour by hour. And the moment that my mindset changed, and I said, I don't want him to be worried about me. What do I need to do? That's when I started going to these things. Um, Line dancing was the final something that I needed to get the mindset and the body changed because I added exercise. And I had tried them all. I tried yoga, and I was just like, no, I have sat over here and thought about everything I need to do when I finished class, so that wasn't going to work. Um, Cycling, no, the body. And just so happened I saw a flyer at the library, and it was about line dancing. And the first thing that came in my mind, how in the world are we gonna exercise? How are we gonna do, an hour and a half of the biker shuffle and the cupid shuffle? And I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy this or not. And the first class I went in, because like I said, I didn't know what it was about. And I had on high heel shoes. And one of the
Mm.
instructors said, we don't do that. And I was kind of like, well, I didn't know what to expect. And then I'm old. So old school, we put on our high heels to dance. So what? So
Right.
I did try sneakers for a while, and it hurt because I have fibromyalgia, and it was just kind of like, why am I over here conforming? And I think I don't know when the time came, but it was a time when I decided I'm gonna be Marvis. Marvis is different than anybody else. So I strut in with my high heel shoes on. And,
Mm-hmm.
one of the trips we were on, they were all like, well, we're gonna go work out in the fitness room. You want to go? And I was like, sure. And I came in, I had on, my little short high heels, but they were still high heels. And I was walking on the treadmill, and they were all looking like, she got high heels
Right. She done lost her whole mind on the treadmill with high heels on.
walked them 3 miles on that treadmill in them shoes, and I got mad respect after that.
I bet you did, because never would I be on a treadmill with heels. But like you said, you decided not to conform. You could have tried to figure out, like, let me get some insoles for my tennis shoes, or let me do this. But you were on this amazing journey of, let me figure out who I am and what works for me. And your health was at stake. Your physical health was at stake. And you needed to encompass something physical. And you did enjoy the line dancing, just not in tennis shoes. So
Yeah.
you put your heels on. They telling you, no, you can't do that. So then what you do?
And then it was, the thing is about my 50s, I realized it has been about rejuvenation and growth. That those are the things that I have been doing um, in my 50s. It was rebranding myself or trying to accomplish those dreams that were deferred. Um, and that's what I set out doing. I subconsciously I was doing it. Consciously, I may not have realized I was doing it. And as I said, I always wanted to be an author. Always wanted to write. But once again, when you conform to people putting you in a box and keeping you, not letting you live out your dreams, then these things happen. So I was writing, at church, I was real active with the youth group, and, I would write little plays for them, or, in my former job with Employment Security Commission, I was writing proposals. And so I was writing, but I wasn't doing the fiction stuff. And once I moved, I found November has a National Novel Writing Month, and you write 50,000 words in a 30-day period. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what, why do y'all have this in my library? That's okay. And I participated. Like I said, we knew it was not going to be published. That wasn't the point. The point was just being able to do it and set those goals. And I did my first one in 2014, and I published a book in 2018. And I was and I self-published because, once again, I couldn't conform to trying to go to traditional publishers, and they turned my work down. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to accomplish something that was a dream deferred. So, and I started moving around like-minded people. I think that was the other thing. And they allowed me to dream even beyond my wildest expectations. So, that was the crux of it. And then once I found out, not only do they line dance, but they have a line dance conference and a convention. And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
What?
So some friends of ours, we decided we were going, and I was like, and so we got a chance to see people that we see on YouTube, and we learned some more dances, came back to North Carolina, so it has just been, it has been an eye-opening experience. So, I have danced now from Hawaii to New Mexico to Chicago to Baltimore. I do it because I got that second chance to be me. And, so I'm still trying to find out. Still got some issues that we need to figure out. But overall, this has just been, I have had a wonderful experience. And even in the midst of COVID, I just pivot. So I lost a contract with the school district because they went virtual, and a lot of children don't have access to internet. So it wasn't like I just bring them in, but I pivoted what I was doing in person so that we do line dance classes through Zoom. But we just don't do line dance classes on Zoom. We play bingo. This week we had awards. They were able to vote. I had 8 questions, surveys sent out to them so they could vote on, just to keep people engaged and keep with me. I feel, and I could be wrong because I have to defer that to you, but I feel like social isolation will kill the person quicker than COVID. And so,
oh yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to come up with. So, we had Christmas parties, we have had Memorial Day cookouts, Labor Day cookouts,
Everything, huh?
Christmas Eve. We dance, and then we play games, and because once again it was a lot of my people, or the people in my community, they live by themselves.
So what I'm hearing you kind of say is that when your son got ready to head to college, you realized that after so many different losses in life, including challenges in your health and, relationship, career, that you didn't want your son to have or to feel burdened by worry of what was going to happen with his mom, or even maybe questioning leaving for school and leaving you without help, without him. And so you started to prioritize your physical health, your mental health. You geographically chose to go to a different space so that the reinventing, the rejuvenating of Marvis could happen without disruption.
Exactly. It was more, because children that have sick parents, they think differently than their peers. And I knew that. I've had, not only him, but other friends and whatnot that had children. Our children, they think differently. They are a little bit more focused, and they're more serious minded, and they're worried about, if it's going to be a good day.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things about myself, that I strive so hard to do, was not let my sickness control me. When I left my ex, he was in middle school, and my job was to get him out of high school and into college. And but I understood my limitations and the symptoms with fibromyalgia and depression and whatnot, and I had to make effort not to create that unsecure environment. I think that's the word. That's it. Your children need to feel safe, and if you got to worry about if mama gonna lay in the bed all day while I'm in school, and then you come back, so and it was a struggle on my part, but I try to keep our household as normal as I could. Whether or not I had some bad days and had flare-ups, sure I did. But I tried to make sure that I was prepared for those days so it didn't interfere with our daily routine. And one of the things about knowing that he was going to college, I didn't want him not to be able to have fun on the weekends because you're coming back to check on me. And because I had to let him, during the time that he was Milton High School, I was teaching him life skills to take care of himself. So if something did happen to me, he'd be, he would be able to take care of himself. He would be able to understand the world around him. But I had a mission in my head. You will go to the college of your choice. You won't go to where you have to go, because when you put children in that light, sometimes they don't complete the process because they're really not happy with the school of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And just as I was trying to take a deep breath and say, because this was not the life I envisioned, being disabled. And so when we first started talking about college, he was talking about North Carolina schools, and I was like, well, okay, cool. And he got a call from LSU. I was like, Dad, you don't play football? Yes, ma'am. They want me to come down for my academics. And so he was ready to apply. And I was like, no, we need to go see, we need to see the campus. I've got to feel comfortable about where you're going. And we made that trip to LSU, and I couldn't find anything wrong with that school. And I was like,
You tried, huh?
mm. And so, so then, we had the discussion, and he got accepted to the college of his choice, LSU, and another college. And then evidently he had been paying attention to me, and I didn't know it, because he wouldn't make a commitment until he saw the money. And that's how he made his choice about the college that he attended. Because he has that work ethics in him. I'm so proud that he came out of college 4 years with no college debt. He got a scholarship that paid for everything but his books. He worked 3, sometimes 4 jobs, so he could take care of his book expenses and his, college life experience. And it was a blessing to me to know that I had instilled that type of work ethics in him. And as he was coming out of college, that's when he said to me, why you keep talking about going back getting your doctorate and you're not doing anything about it? And I was like, well, you got to apply and some and some. He said, but you've been looking at online stuff, so why wouldn't you, and I was like, well, I don't know if that's the same quality. He said, but, but it's there. And
So the student became the teacher. So the things that you had taught him and how you had been intentional about cultivating a secure space for him at home and in the relationship, and you didn't allow any role reversal. Because let's just be honest, some parents who are chronically ill or disabled, without knowing it, a role reversal happens where the child becomes the caregiver of the sick parent. But because you were intentional about not allowing that to happen, and even more so creating secure and safety for him, he was able to thrive. And once he got to the point of like, okay, I've wrapped it up, I've gone through college, I've gone through high school. Now, Mom, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to keep talking about this dream deferred, or are you going to manifest the dream? So if we were to fast forward to right now today, what is Miss Henderson doing?
Well, Miss Henderson has written her second book. She has I have a beta reader with the third book. I am looking for illustrator for a children's series on Grandmama M.
All right.
And that'd be a 12-book series for probably K through second grade. Just like the Dick and Jane stuff we learned. I am in my second, going on third year in the doctoral program, and I am claiming it. I am owning it. I will have that degree by 2021. So
awesome.
By the time in the end of 2021, I should be Dr. Marvis.
Okay, that is amazing. Well, soon to be Dr. Marvis Henderson, aka Old School. I so appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. And if you had one thing that you wanted to leave with the audience, what would that one thing be?
When you say, am I crazy? You need to say yes. I am so crazy until I have no idea what I'm capable of doing. Never let someone put limits on you. If you have a dream in your head, or if you have a thought about what you can do, you take, and it is a guy named Steve Bonds. He came up with, I heard him talk, And he said, create magic. And it is map it, action, you got to edit that.
Gratitude.
Intention, encouraging conviction. When you live your life based on that type of magic, you got a plan. You put it into action. And just like we went on that mountain in the middle of nowhere and had that fear, we were strong in numbers. So don't try to do stuff in isolation. Find you somebody, find you a tribe or community that is thinking the way you want to be. Because if you don't, then you're going to continue to struggle and you're going to live in that life of lack. And I can tell you from personal experience, that life of lack is just not, it's not good. Be fierce and limitless and just be you.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, those were gems. We could have just let you wrap the show and it been the show. That was so great. But I thank you again for being here and keep doing what you're doing. And you guys, check out Marvis. Where can they find you? What's your website?
Website is marvisfun.com.
All right, marvisfun.com. Get into some of those Zoom line dancing and social events so that you're not in social isolation, even if we are in a pandemic. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we're continuing Women's History Month, Marvis dropped so many gems in her segment, but one that I really want to take time to highlight is when we're dealing with a chronic illness or a physical disability while raising kids. Within itself, parenting comes with so many complexities, but when our health physically or mentally is compromised, it creates more complexities. And so being sure that as a parent that you take care of yourself, not just for you, but for your kids. Marvis was very clear that it got to a point in her life where she had to put some things in order so that it would not cause disorder in her son's life. And that's a very intentional act as a parent, to be able to forecast how our mental and physical health can impact our children and being sure to prioritize it so that it does not. Marvis choosing to geographically pivot, to pivot in her physical health, to pivot in her mental health, allowed for her son to be able to leave home and go to college and thrive to the point that he came back to be the teacher and not the student, to encourage Marvis to start her PhD. And as she said, by the end of 2021, she will be Dr. Marvis Henderson. So be sure that you take care of yourself, prioritize your physical and mental health, and take time to forecast how not doing so could impact the next generation. Thank you again for joining us, and be sure to catch us next week.